Well, it's time now to get some business news with Yuka Royer. Yuka, we're starting with Elon Musk. The social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, is going to continue to be banned in Brazil. Tell us more about that.
Well, Alison, the platform has been suspended since early Saturday for violating Brazilian laws. And on Monday, a Supreme Court panel of 5 justices unanimously voted in favour of upholding that decision. Brazil's telecom regulator Anatel said it was checking if all Brazilian operators had taken down X and said only Starlink, the satellite internet provider controlled by Elon Musk, told the authority that it would not comply with the order. Anyone continuing to access the platform via VPNs or virtual private networks will also face a heavy fine. It's the latest in a long-running feud between Elon Musk and Justice Alexandre de Moraes, who earlier this year ordered it to block accounts linked to spreading hate and disinformation and then moved to suspend it on Saturday. In an interview with CNN, Brazilian President Lula da Silva welcomed the ruling, saying that the country's judiciary, quote, may have given an important signal that the world is not obliged to put up with Musk's far-right ideology just because he's rich, end of quote.
Indeed. All right, Yuka, here in Europe, the far-right Alternative for Germany party made a historic showing in state elections in the country's east, and that could actually be very bad news for the companies there.
Well, the AfD made immigration the biggest issue during their election campaign, and their unprecedented advance in eastern states of Thuringia and Saxony is set to worry many employers there. German companies are facing a huge shortfall of skilled labour and rely on migrant workers. Jenny Shin has more.
When electrical engineer Pritam Gaikwad first moved to Jena in 2013, she was excited for what the eastern German city had to offer. Top research institutions, cutting-edge technology companies, and global leaders in their field. 11 years later, the Indian native takes a more somber view.
I'm very worried about the rise of the AfD. It's a big issue, especially in Thuringia.
Her employer Jenoptik is one of the few internationally successful businesses in the city and depends on a highly skilled workforce, much of it from outside Germany.
We need employees with creative potential. We Thuringians are a creative bunch, but we won't be able to do it all on our own. We also need people who come from other parts of the world, who perhaps have different views, different beliefs, or different skin colors.
Germany is already facing a massive labor shortage, with an estimated 400,000 skilled immigrants needed each year just to maintain its labor force. A crucial pillar of the German economy, foreign workers accounted for the creation of nearly 25 billion euros in economic activity, almost 6% of the total for the entire country. In the state of Saxony, where AfD came in a close second, immigrant labor created nearly 8 billion euros in revenues last year. For Thuringia, where AfD won, foreign workers created nearly 4 billion.
All right, Yuka, we're going to come here to France next. There's another sign that the political uncertainty is taking a toll on economic activity. Now, new data shows that factory output in August was falling at the fastest clip since the start of this year.
Well, French manufacturers lowered production for a 27th consecutive month, due in part to a slowdown in export demand from Europe. The latest HCOB manufacturing PMI, or Purchasing Managers Index, dropped to 43.9 in August. Any reading below 50 means a contraction. Output shrunk at a pace surpassed only by months during the pandemic or the global financial crisis. And for the first time since January, the outlook for the year ahead turned negative in August. French manufacturers also cut jobs for the 15th straight month, and despite the easing of inflation, raised their selling prices sharply. Now, here's how Norman Lipke, economist at HCOB, describes the current situation.
The state of the French manufacturing sector is deteriorating. What seemed like a recovery of the industrial sector at the start of 2024 turned out to be just a brief uptick. French manufacturers are bracing for tough times ahead. Surveyed manufacturers mentioned political uncertainty, both domestically and abroad, as a concern.
Tough times ahead, that doesn't sound good, Yuka, and consumers are continuing indeed to keep their purse strings held pretty tight.
Pretty tight indeed. Well, despite an uptick during the Olympics, political uncertainty following inconclusive parliamentary elections seemed to weigh on consumer sentiment over the summer. New car registrations in August plunged more than 24% compared to the same month last year. Just under 86,000 cars were sold compared to more than 113,000 a year prior. Government policies have a major impact on the automobile industry, so uncertainty over who will lead the next government doesn't help. In Germany, EV sales in July dropped 37% year-on-year after the government abruptly cancelled subsidies on electric cars last December. Overall consumer confidence is also still quite low, even though inflation has come down a long way to below 2% for the first time in 3 years. People are holding on to their money rather than spend it. The household savings rate, the percentage of disposable income put into bank accounts, remained high at 17.1% in the first 3 months of this year. That's higher than the Eurozone average and actually higher than when inflation was at its peak.
And speaking of not wanting to spend money, Oasis fans were very thrilled when the band announced their reunion tour next year, but they were furious over the skyrocketing ticket prices, and they actually prompted government action.
Yeah, it sounds kind of similar to what happened after Taylor Swift announced her concert tour. Well, tickets for the 17 shows announced for 2025 went on sale on Saturday, and soon sales website crashed under the sheer weight of demand. What infuriated fans further is when they eventually made it to the front of the online queue, they found that ticket prices had gone up massively, doubling or tripling even in some cases. That's due to what's known as the dynamic pricing system used by sellers such as Ticketmaster. Now, while that's legal, Alison, they have come under fire for not warning fans about a potential price surge beforehand. And now the British government says that it will investigate and review the practice as part of their consultation on consumer protections.
Good. I saw some of those tickets there you see listed for over £4,000. Definitely out of our price range, even if I do like Oasis. Yuka, thank you so much for that business update.